again, yeah.
We're live again. We lost the feed, so I had to switch over to a different one.
Back up and running.
So we're back up and running.
Nobody sticks ginormous in a corner.
While we're at this, while we're waiting for everything to come back on, we're going to take a quick pause for our commercial. So we'll be back.
No, just figured.
Which have been awesome, by the way.
We're live, guys. Sorry, we lost the feed. We are back. We are back. We're actually at our pause. We're at our break. We're going to take our commercial break,
You want your
and we'll get back into this discussion. I can't believe that died. It was going strong for a full half hour, and then it died.
Yeah.
Apologies, everyone.
Bravo 6.
I should see, Bravo 6. I should have totally.
That's happened to me. That's actually happened.
It's happened in the office once or twice.
Oh,
So
man.
I realized we had those
We got 4 on. Hello, everyone. Let us know if you can hear us.
Musical interlude.
Help me out here, Papa George.
Yeah, we're sorry. All right, we're good. We're starting to get them all back now. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Again, I should have connected to Ken's Wi-Fi right from the jump. I should have known better. That's all right. Just leave it on. It'll be fine. All right, we're doing our commercial break. So give us 5.
Scattered pictures of the smiles we left behind.
I've never had a problem with yours. I have full. Yeah, but what it did was, as soon as it didn't get a cell signal,
Misty water-colored memories of the way we
Usually I'm over
were.
here, I get a good cell signal. Over there.
We're still live, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you
I got my other shirt.
What?
I got my other shirt.
I'm going to be in and out.
I'm singing Memories.
That's fine.
Barbara Streisand.
All over the place.
Yeah. Can it be that it was all so simple then? Or has time rewritten every
Are you
line?
kidding me? You had me dying with Lionel the other time.
Oh,
I was
hello?
laughing so hard listening to that.
I take requests.
I was laughing so hard.
Been
I couldn't think of
alone with
anything but,
you
there's
inside
a Family Guy
my
skit
heart.
where it's Peter listening to that, and all it is him in tears.
Who hurt you? Who hurt you?
Lionel? Who hurt you?
And in my dreams, I've kissed your lips 1,000 times. We should do. You know what we should do? Here's an idea for you.
Dan, if you bang this table, I'm going to whoop you.
We need. I would need some time to prepare. We can't do it tonight. We should do a commercial for Puppet George Sings the Hits. We could have
like
Puppet
a
George.
commercial, like one of those where it's
Like one of those
scrolling.
commercials,
Yeah,
and we
yeah,
could do it like a fake Christmas album when that gets closer.
That's not bad, actually.
It's just a little snippet.
And you can have him spoof Christmas songs, like make up his own words for Christmas
I'm
songs.
actually really good at that.
That'd be
My wife
great.
has said that I've ruined multiple Christmas songs.
That's exactly it. It'd be
Who
awesome.
really wants to hear real Christmas?
Yeah,
Right.
that's exactly. And they're so cheesy, easy lyrics, real cheesy songs.
And like we could,
Songs like Santa Claus and his old lady gets higher ratings than like
Yeah.
straight up
Regular.
Crosby Jingle Bells.
Oh, my
but
God.
it'll be funnier if we
Joseph
actually
Schultz asks, can you sing Far and Away?
by whom?
I don't know. You have to look on
Let me see. I may far and away.
Barbara Streisand.
Oh, God. This is going to be our new segment for live. It's going to be Joe just sitting there.
Yeah, I'll do the
On
musical
request, yeah.
interlude.
That's
He's
it.
got the best singing voice of all.
Yeah, but I got cut out of the fucking commercials. Go figure.
Oh,
damn!
I'm kidding.
Damn.
We did a commercial. We did pretty good.
Far and Away, if it's by Slash, I don't know that one. I'm more of a crooner. I like maybe a little Sinatra. Someday, when I'm awfully low, and the world is cold,
You're an ass.
I will feel a glow just thinking of you. And the way your
Oh,
puppet
my.
looks tonight.
He is perfect.
Yeah.
How about instead of summer wind, we can go broken wind?
Oh.
The broken wind came blowing in
If you're gonna sing, you gotta sing with
from
Puppet George.
across the
Puppet
table.
George has to sing.
Oh my god.
Premise.
All right. I think we're ready again.
I've been alone. I don't know if I could go that high.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. And then,
Maybe I could do some Barry White as Puppet
I just gotta see where we left off before we lost the live
Can't
feed.
get enough of your love, baby.
That was fun.
Memory,
with cardboard
like
in
the
the windows.
corners of my
Yeah.
mind.
yeah.
It's if that's what you consider.
By the way,
all out.
I can do
Yeah,
Bee Gees.
it's,
I mean, it looks
I
kind of
mean,
like a meth lab
Yeah,
right
it
now.
does.
But
Definitely looks like
Any other
it should be
requests on
squatting.
Facebook Live as we're see what kind of personal
what
fail.
do
Let's
we
see
got?
what comes up randomly.
We gotta break up. We gotta
Mike
break up the
Adams
mood
said,
a little
Stop!
bit.
My dog is howling now.
Oh.
You know what? You can shut up. You don't appreciate talent.
This is a
All right, we're good.
this is a hot-blooded issue here. We have to break things
All right.
up with a little bit of song.
River,
Hey, Barry White,
wider
can you
than a
stop?
mile. That's Andy Williams or
All
Audrey
right.
Hepburn from Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Could
Great
you?
movie.
All right.
Reel it in. You want me to reel it in?
We're gonna go back live.
Okay,
Ready?
so I gotta put my
5,
serious face back on.
4, 3.
Freezing.
Move away from the air conditioner.
Or in
I'll
front
give
of
you my lighter. Set yourself on fire.
All right, where were what?
5, 4, 3, 2. We're back. We lost our live feed, so I decided to pause it. We did our commercial. What'd you guys think of the commercial? Joe didn't hear it yet.
I didn't hear it yet.
Yeah,
I didn't hear it yet. I was
Oh.
providing the musical interlude
I'll let
to
you
our
guys listen
Facebook
to it
Live
afterward.
audience.
I thought it was
Intermission, the
great.
musical
It
intermission.
did come
You
out.
like that?
I did.
Dan, brother Dan, like that.
Right worship brother Mike says, "Stop! My dog is howling now." Because Joe is singing.
You know what? I like Mike, so we're gonna leave that be. However,
Right worship brother Mike needs to drag his ass up here so we can interview him with
Puppet George. You and I we're back. We're back after like a month and a half of like a mental block. I don't know what it was. We're completing each other's thoughts again. I like it.
Yes, Puppet George needs to interview him. It's gonna be a good time.
I
But
just have
anyway.
one thing to say to right worship brother Mike.
Yes.
Jealousy is not attractive. That's all. That's all I've got. Love you, brother.
All right. So all right, so you were talking before the break about we left the window open.
Left the window open.
the window open.
Train's coming.
Joe, don't start.
Don't hit my phone.
You're taking the.
Perfect.
You're putting the blind and whatever.
Yeah, you realize you grabbed the
Leave it
blind
alone.
in the corner.
What? Did I?
That's fine. Whatever.
Nah,
Lighting's
whatever,
leave it
whatever.
there.
There's
Leave
no
it
sun that
there.
comes to the window.
Natural lighting in here.
All right. So before we went, before our live feed crapped out, and before we went to our commercial break for a particular brother of our lodge. You were talking about how you in your lodge, you were kind of against bringing firearms into the lodge, and you were talking about if a guest run with it.
But even if a guest is attending a function, they may not be comfortable with it based on whatever their views are. And again, we're not talking about right or wrong here, but Freemasonry is universal. We want to invite people in. We want people to feel comfortable. So
Right.
I don't believe it's appropriate outside of, like I said, potential brothers who are police officers that carry all the time. However,
Mhm.
I would not be opposed to the Tyler being armed as long as he is outside the door of the lodge.
Mhm.
I'm just, me personally, again, it's sacred space to me. Don't want that in there. However, for the safety of the brothers, if you decided you wanted the Tyler outside the door to be armed, I'm okay with that. And I actually think that's probably a good idea based on things that we're seeing in society now. If safety is the ultimate goal, have that brother
I would
outside.
also go. I mean, it's up to you. But what would you say about the junior deacon? He is the guard of the inner door. Would you be comfortable with him inside? Him being inside as well? Because technically speaking, if somebody was trying to bust into the lodge and shoot the place up, because again, we are Freemasons. We
Mhm.
do have people who are, anti-Freemason, like Carly Franz. She might be on one of her
Almost
she might be on
happened-
one of her babysitter kicks and come flying up the door, and
It almost happened in Milwaukee. There was a.
I was going to touch on that. Yep.
I guess my answer to that would be I'm not dead set against it.
Mhm.
I would listen to it. My first inclination is no, I'm drawing the line at that door.
Mhm.
However, I'd be open to discussion and figuring it out, because then what happens with the junior deacon next year, he just doesn't have a permit, and
Okay. You'd run into the same thing with a Tyler too. If it's a revolving chair, not all lodges have Tylers who are permanent Tylers. Some lodges do. Some actually even pay the Tyler a stipend to be the Tyler.
Right.
They get $100 a year, $50 a year, whatever. Just as a side thought,
right. But you could make it a duty of that position depending on the master's
Affirmative.
preference,
Right.
and it could be known, hey, our Tyler, this is what comes with that position,
Correct.
because
Right.
technically it's not in line.
Correct. It is it's not a revolving line position.
Right. So you could say, hey, here are the job duties of this. This is your job. And if you want to be Tyler, this is something that you need to be okay with.
I always thought it'd be funny to make the organist a revolving line position, just so everyone has to learn the organ.
Good luck with that.
Maybe an interesting couple of meetings. Yeah.
Brother Dan, views, thoughts, opinions on this. Again,
honestly,
you
I'm
kind of
pretty-
came in a little bit late, so I just
Yeah.
wanted, we're not getting political.
Yeah, so
We're not getting-
without touching on the good or bad of it, is this right or wrong? Without touching on that, I'm kind of indifferent about it. I honestly, I'm a ex-military guy, so when it comes to firearms and everything else, I think it's such a fun hobby. It's amazing feeling when as a hobby wise and to have fun with it. Obviously, it's a totally safety first type of hobby.
Right.
There is no questions about it, and it is supposed to be for your protection
Right.
and everything else. When it comes to being in the lodge, I have nothing against it, and I really don't. I think it would be, like you guys have all touched on, the decision of the worshipful master. If he's comfortable with it, then he allows it. I'm okay with it.
Right.
If he's not comfortable with it, then you respect his wishes and you don't bring it into the lodge. But as far as a personal opinion, I'm all for guns. I actually love it. I actually don't have my permit, but I've gone shooting with a bunch of buddies of mine. And like I said, I am ex-military. It's a lot of fun when you start going into target and hunting and things of that nature. And as far as protection, there's no better feeling having one on you.
Right.
I just want to add another thing in on this. As you were talking, I'm thinking through it, and it's also one of those things where not only is it up to the master, but I might feel differently about it if we did a better job guarding the West Gate, if the state had mandatory background checks for our folks, because you just don't know.
Right.
As we have investigation committees, and yes, that's the job of the investigating committee, but it's not like a full-on
It's not
background
like
check.
Yeah.
So that would be something where if it were something where we said, hey, as a lodge, we wanted to do this, as a member of a lodge, I might say, time out.
Right.
Let's talk about background checks, because you have to get one, presumably, to get the pistol permit.
Yeah.
So
But then are we going to require these brothers that want to carry a lodge, do we require them to produce a permit so that we can make sure? Like there's little aspects.
Actually, when it comes to what you're saying right now, you're absolutely right. Because if a brother happens to have a firearm that isn't legal, how are we to know inside of that lodge that, hey, everybody starts showing off whatever, and then it's happens to be an illegal carrying. And like you said, we're all brothers and everything, but you never know.
You never know. And my point on that just is, while my initial opinion is no, it doesn't belong there, with additional checks and balances and other precautions, that might change my mind.
So I guess I'm the last one up, huh?
Yeah.
And then we'll turn it over to those who are watching. We'll turn it over to listeners' questions and or statements, and we'll kind of chop it up with them. So, two things. I just want to say that my personal opinion is I am pro bug here. Has been bugging me literally.
You're
Besides
pro
you.
bug. You're
Yeah.
pro bug.
Yeah,
I am anti-bug.
I am.
I'm anti-bug. Definitely anti-insect.
I am pro gun in lodge under these stipulations. I think if a brother wishes to carry his pistol in lodge, you need to absolutely produce the fact that you have a concealed carry permit. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, that weapon is not supposed to come out at any point in time. You're not to flash the gun or play with it or check out my piece and everything. You want to carry it for your protection and the protection of your brethren. I'm completely fine with that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up and the reason why I'm saying this is because we did have, Brother Ken, you touched on it. There was an incident in Milwaukee where actually I believe he was a Muslim man who was basically against, again, religion doesn't play a factor. I'm just giving the scenario of the story because it could be anybody. It could be Christian, it could be pagan, could be anything, but he was against Freemasonry and he was going to go shoot up a lodge. He got their entire meeting nights. He knew when they met.
Mhm.
He was going to do it, and he actually was foiled by the brothers of the lodge because I think he was trying to either become a Mason or trying to get into Freemasonry or something along those lines.
That part I don't remember, but I do know that his belief was that Freemasonry was responsible, was shadow controlling what was going on in the Middle East, and felt that Freemasonry was responsible for what was going on there, and that's why he had a.
And I want to add to that, this is why these conspiracy nuts on YouTube and Facebook are so freaking dangerous, because they're putting us in a very dangerous spot where we are practicing brotherly love, friendship, relief, and all these other things. But the people who do all these negative videos about Freemasonry, you are putting us in harm's way. You have
Some
a
crackpot
woman,
might believe it.
Carly Franz, going on there saying harass Freemasons at every weight and point. You're potentially putting me in harm's way and taking me out of my children's lives by doing shit like this.
Yeah.
So Freemasonry doesn't do this. Don't do it to us. But I want to add, I love all my brothers like they are my own flesh and blood. And again, I'm solely speaking from my point of view. And I firmly believe that brothers need to be armed in lodge if they so wish. If you don't, that's fine. But it needs to be concealed. It needs to be hidden. And it needs to be there for your personal protection. Again, there are crack jobs out there who are after Freemasons. There's no doubt about it. I mean, but we laugh and joke about one particular one who kicks that beehive all the time and corrals these people into doing these things. With that being said, we are also in a closed lodge with literally, most times, 2 exits in a route, sometimes even 1. So you have a bunch of brothers, men, in a room locked in with literally 1 way in, 1 way out. That poses a very dangerous thing, especially if you have somebody who's trying to come into the lodge to cause harm to people. So the more the merrier on my end. And that's the way I personally look at it, because if you walk into Morningstar Lodge and try doing some harm, you could be walking in with a howitzer. You're going out as Swiss cheese, because there's a lot of brothers that are not going to let you do that.
And they're going to be backed into a corner.
It's not a challenge by any means. I'm just making a simple point that it's not going to fare too well for you. And it's not a matter of, it's not a matter of comparing, so to speak, penis sizes of who's got guns and who doesn't. It's a personal protection thing. And when we're in a closed door and we're having our meeting, the last thing we're thinking about is somebody booting the door open and trying to do harm to us. We're just trying to have brotherly love and friendship. And, that's my opinion on it. So me personally, I'm completely fine with that, especially knowing that there are nut jobs out there that think we are the NWO and trying to take over the world, and they're going to do their part to stop it.
So there's a happy medium here too. And it was actually,
I think Joe had a nice
It's
happy
a-
medium
it's
with
a little
Tyler.
bit-
I do
yeah.
like that. That was a good point.
it's a little bit difficult to do research on this type of topic because you end up going to a lot of forums and Reddit and stuff like that, where other brothers from other jurisdictions around the states and from outside of the country have had this kind of debate. So it's not a new debate, but if one were to go with Worshipful Brother Joe's recommendation that only the Tyler is armed and that the doors are locked, one of the things that I read from a brother down in Texas is hey, we're in a very firearms friendly area.
Mhm.
We're all farmers. They're in an agricultural area. There are predators that they have to shoot with rifles and stuff like that. So everybody has a firearm. Everybody brings a pistol. But what they do is they do it like the Old West, where they walk up to the Tyler. They have a safe, and they all check their firearms at the door.
That's a
The
great
Tyler's
idea.
armed.
Huh.
The Tyler's also keeping everybody's stuff safe outside.
That's awesome. Hey,
So
I have a small joke. I just have a small joke, and I just thought of it because I think it's freaking great. I have a small joke, and I think about this because our Tyler ceremoniously is armed with a sword.
Yep.
Okay. And, I think of the movie Untouchables with what's his name?
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. When the mobster walks in there and he's got the knife and he goes, just like a wop to walk, bring a knife to a gunfight, chasing him down the hall.
Yeah.
I don't know, just what?
that's kind of racist.
No, but it's in the movie. I'm
I
not
know.
being
It's okay.
racist. I'm just a whopping
I'm half Italian and Danish
But
here.
The
so-
guy was Irish, but it's funny.
That's right.
Okay,
Don't jump across the table.
I'm just saying it's pretty funny because
Exploding
I don't know.
gun.
I just thought about like the Tyler who's carrying a sword and like, oh well, the Tyler's armed, yeah, with a sword. Which I mean, the sword. I mean, granted, if you use the Knights Templar Sword of Honor, I mean, you basically
That's a
could.
heavy.
You might be able to deflect some things with that.
You may not cut somebody.
If you get close enough,
You'll be able to hide behind it. You're
Yeah,
darn
exactly.
skinny.
Yeah, just gonna hold it on.
You turn sideways. He's gone.
But that Knight Templar Sword of Honor, it's not sharp, but if it was, you could basically.
Well,
just,
it's equivalent of a baseball bat.
Oh, it's got weight.
Oh,
to it,
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, the only thing you could do with the real the sword that we use, which is a Templar sword, it's a ceremonial sword, is you could probably kebab somebody, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're coming
It's
up
not
against
really a
somebody
weapon.
who's got a pistol or
Right.
something more, you're screwed. There's nothing you can do.
So two thoughts.
I just
on
thought
this.
it was funny. That's all.
Two additional thoughts on
It's
this.
in a movie, so it's not like
It's okay. You're quoting. You're quoting.
I'm quoting.
It's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm half.
I'm
It's
Italian, so
But
No,
two things
actually,
to just,
I'm not Italian. Let me correct you because freaking my heritage ruined that for me. I'm not
No.
Italian.
No, you're
Yeah,
like
What is
get a
this,
DNA test.
Well, the DNA
Yeah.
swab. Yeah, no, I'm not Italian. That'd be close. Continue.
Puppet George is in my head right now. Anyway.
I can see.
Anyway.
You're over here on the table with the paper just
Well,
firing
no,
away.
no, these are because I almost forgot my thought before when I was talking
Oh,
about Dan, so I wrote them down so I don't get caught up trying to buy time while I remember my thoughts. So I am the oldest one here. So just a couple things, two things and then we can talk about it more and open it up to the listeners.
Yep.
But there is something in our Grand Lodge rules and regs
Mhm.
that states that you will not carry a weapon to lodge, neither offensive or defensive.
Correct.
And then two, and this is just me playing devil's advocate.
No. It's a
So-
good point because that's kind of been the
That's the
stigma
rub
of it.
on it.
That's the
But
rub.
then
on it.
also, you mentioned before in your personal opinion, and I'm not attacking your personal opinion.
No,
I'm just
go
playing
ahead.
devil's advocate
No,
to it.
absolutely.
But where does the line of your right to feel protected, cross over and possibly infringe on my right to feel
You're
comfortable in that sacred space?
and you're absolutely
And again,
1,000%
not taking
right.
a side on either one, but that's worth a discussion.
Right. It absolutely
It's
is.
debated in the civil, like in the profane world outside of
Mhm.
Freemasonry, even in Connecticut. It's
Right,
like
right.
technically you can open carry in Connecticut.
Mhm.
Technically, you could also be breaching peace when you
Exactly.
open carry. So it's a gray
Exactly.
area.
It's a very gray area because in Connecticut it's open carry. You can have it. Okay, let me just the difference between concealed, obviously it's hidden. Open carry is where you're just it's
just
out strapped on the side. I've always been, and again, I guess I'm strictly speaking of on a Masonic lodge. I don't want to talk about public, but if you want to take it to public, it's fine. I'm actually okay with open carry.
I'd rather
I'd rather know. And on top of that, you're also going to deter some dummy from doing some dumb shit if he's all, never mind. I'm not going to rob that convenience store
Right.
because that 357 Magnum is going to blow my face off if I do something dumb. So it is a form of a deterrent. On the flip side of it, though, you're going to get the people who are like and freak out.
Yeah.
So
some people are
it's
scared
an
of
ebb
guns.
and
I
flow.
get
It's
that.
And a lot of it's a cultural thing. And who is it? I believe it's Brother Michael Martinez. He's from Texas, correct?
yes.
If I remember correctly, in Texas, it's an open carry state, but there's no such thing as a concealed carry permit. You
Uh-uh.
cannot
No.
conceal carry.
No.
So if you're going to have it, it's got to be out there. But I would bet you if you grew up in that area,
Mhm.
you know, the United States is very regionalized, so culture of that type of thing could change where you go. Maybe it's not such a big deal.
Mhm.
Right.
Because you're used to seeing, you might have less people to freak out.
Right.
But where if you're open carrying in, say, I don't know, Greenwich, Connecticut,
Mm.
it might not be taken so well.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, I think if you open carry somewhere like Greenwich, Connecticut, it's only going to be a matter of time before a police officer comes up to you and
Yeah,
says,
just, hey,
"What are you
gotta-
doing?"
Yeah,
You
right.
know?
Like
The good news is, I know 2 brothers, including the captain in Greenwich. So if I were going to do
Oh,
it,
so
I would
yeah.
do it in
You
Greenwich.
get
But,
away with
but yeah, it wouldn't be
Well,
received
no.
very. If I walk down Greenwich Avenue, open
Absolutely
carry, it's not going to be
Into
received
a
well.
grocery store or anywhere
Right.
public like that.
God forbid a
where-
Starbucks
In
Oh,
lodge.
Yeah.
So,
or a Whole
let's
Foods.
Yeah.
bring it back into in lodge. Just bring it back in lodge.
in lodge. So you said there's precedent. There's documentation in the Grand Lodge rules and regs that says nothing
weapon.
metal of or
It's no
offensive or
weapon,
actually
neither
in the lodge.
offensive or defensive.
Is that in the Grand Lodge
That's
rules and
not
regs
in
or
the
our
ru-
ritual?
That is in our ritual. That is not in the rules.
Okay,
and
So
regs.
that's
actually in the Entered Apprentice degree.
yeah, that's what's being told to a candidate
Yes.
when he's first initiated.
Yes. After that, there's nothing about it. But that's on your EA. You're not to carry anything offensive or defensive in the lodge. But technically speaking, you are an entered apprentice. You're coming into something. You're not going to walk in with
Right.
strapped.
Nobody knows who you are. yet.
Nobody knows who you
It's
are.
what I remember.
It's
smart
not
not
until
to
you
do that,
earn
yeah.
that people know
That's
who
where,
you are.
from what I remember in the degree, it's actually they're telling.
Careful.
No, but they're telling the entered apprentice
They're telling-
that you're not
Stop
going to have
Banging
anything
on the table.
offensive or
Freaking-
defensive. You know what I mean?
Right. So there's
Coming in.
does that
Yes,
only
and
apply
entered
to?
Boobity
apprentice.
bobbity. Talk with your hands up there.
But does
What
that-
goes on?
But does that, yeah?
You can
carry
interpret
out
it that
to
is at that
everyone,
moment
or
you
is it
can't, or is
just
it
him?
from
Yeah.
here on as part of your duty as a Mason?
That's-
Right.
You could argue
It's
that.
an open
You could argue that.
interpretation.
It is,
Well,
again, it's a very gray area.
Now there is a Grand
Fair.
Master recently who clarified that point,
And he said,
and he said, "This is our previous Grand Master that it
Who
was."
was a member of law enforcement?
Yes, he was a state police officer for a long time and still does some kind of forensics work for the state of Connecticut. And his contention was that it is perfectly fine to carry a firearm in lodge if one chooses to do so.
Right.
And that was his interpretation of Grand Lodge rules and regs, and that was his personal opinion. Now that can change from Grand Master to Grand Master.
And
lodge to
ultimately, like
lodge,
we
you
discussed
can-
before,
Brother Rob Fowler signed. He's just joined us.
oh, what's up, brother
Agent
Rob?
47. So I had to play
Ah,
the.
You want me to sing
Brother
"For Your
Rob.
Eyes Only" from James Bond, like the Roger Moore? No,
You just want to sing.
I'm thinking that's
I
a
know.
no.
Octopussy? Is that a tune? Octopussy?
That is one of the
Is
That
that
is-
No,
the
that
theme song? Is that the name
no,
of the theme
that's
song?
actually from "For Your Eyes Only."
For Your
That's the name
Eyes
of the
Only.
one.
Wow.
Sheena Easton.
I don't
Sing.
know. I'm not-
God, you're old.
I'd
I mean,
prefer
no,
wise beyond my years, but I'm old. I'm the oldest one here. I get it. It's okay.
Goldeneye was the best one. Sorry,
I don't
Goldeneye.
think I
was
saw. I thought it was Rusty Eye or something like that.
Goldeneye.
Oh.
You're baiting me. That's what you're doing. I know that's what you're up to. All right,
My
so
bad.
I don't get it.
Agent 47.
That's over my head.
Agent 47.
Ah.
You guys all
They
getting
just
now.
got it. They just got it.
It was over my head.
That was classic.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's why I was smiling. I wasn't about to. Brother Rob Fowler, our Agent 47. He's been on Discord for a while. He's been
doing a good job.
He's been doing a good
extremely
job.
good
Doing
job.
the good work.
doing very good work.
I believe I also saw was it Michael Alchin joined in.
Michael
on the fun of
Alchin.
harassing.
Yes, he has. So we got the 2 or 3 of them that have started the trouble.
Anyway, we digress.
All right, so we're going to open it up. Those who are watching, questions, anything you want to add to this? Anything you want to talk about? Actually, Joseph Schultz said, I believe in Milwaukee, the guy bought guns from undercover FBI.
That sounds familiar.
That sounds familiar, and that's how he pretty much got caught.
Thank you, Joseph. Schultz. He's a brother, right?
Joseph.
Brother?
Yes.
Joseph?
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank
I
you,
think-
brother Joseph.
He also wrote, we do 2 gun raffles a year, and we actually do them. Actually, I'm going to plug the lodge. I want to plug the lodge. It's oh God, up in Torrington. What is it?
Oh, that's
Seneca Lodge.
Seneca Lodge.
Lodge. They do a gun raffle, and it's not a problem.
It's a good one too.
It's a good one. Yeah, it's very good. I actually have the tickets in the back of my car if anybody's interested before the end of the night.
We're gonna have to talk later.
Douglas Berry, I have nothing against it in lodge as long as it's concealed and not showing in any way. I agree. I don't think it needs to be out. We're not comparing.
Well, again, it's not a toy.
It's
Not a
toy.
battle of the
1-on-1.
masters type of
It's
thing.
not a battle of the
Not a
masters
toy.
type thing. No, it's not.
'Cause I'd win that too.
Let's see here. So, if anybody else got anything else to add to this,
I got it.
please join in because we're going to shut this down if we don't get anything else. Next one. What are we thinking, boys? What do we want to cover next? This one's been a hot one. This one's been a hotly debated topic. Oh, wait a minute. We got some. Brother Rob Fowler, if a brother is really concealing correctly, how would anyone know if they were carrying?
If you're doing it correctly, nobody should know.
Nobody should. Yeah.
No, if you're doing it correctly, nobody should know. And also make sure your suits are and your tuxes aren't fitted, which means if you've gained weight in a couple of years, you might need to go back to the store.
Why are you looking at me? Why are you
He did
looking
look
at me?
directly at you.
Right at me, right?
I'm panning the room. I mean,
Oh yeah. You're looking over there. Yeah.
Yeah, just looking at Dan.
Right Worshipful Mike Adams.
you.
I don't have a problem with it, but I do think it should be concealed at all times. I'm right with you there.
Yep.
The master and warden should know who has a firearm on them, and the permit should be shown to prove they are carrying legal. It's exactly what I said earlier.
Yep.
I
think that's a good
we're right along
place
the
to
lines
start
of
a
it.
discussion on it. Yeah.
If you're going to carry in lodge, I think it needs to be. And again, back to Brother Rob Fowler, he says, well, if you're carrying, and you're concealing, you're doing it properly, no one's going to know anyway. True, but
You
I
don't
think
want to disrespect the master's wishes.
I
if he
also
says
think
nobody should
that
carry.
if your lodge is okay with carrying in lodge, once that person becomes a master mason, ask the question. Or at least state that if you're going to carry in lodge, we need to see your pistol permit. And on top of that, if they don't have their pistol permit, but eventually get it, you need to let us know when you get it and if you're carrying. I think that's important.
It's adding one more responsibility to the secretary's desk.
Yeah, we can handle
But I'm
it.
okay with that.
Fine.
Since I'm the secretary.
I'm fine with that, actually. That's something I'd
That's
be.
fine.
It's really literally a check mark. Carries, doesn't
Yep.
carry, carries. That I'm fine. I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah.
I'd rather know than not know. And
Yeah.
I don't care either way because there's many of members of our lodge that carry, and you'll never,
you would never know.
they carry.
Actually, there's quite a few members that exactly that. Unless you talk to them and talk guns with them, you
Right.
would never know.
You'd
And they
never know.
probably have their gun on them more often than they don't.
Actually, funny shirt that I actually have on the freemasonspodcast.com is a shirt that says Lodge Protection Officer, and it's a 357.
I saw that one.
And that was actually a joke that was done by just Brother Steve right now, our junior warden, and he said basically, how come I can carry. I can carry my pistol, and at the time we were like, oh, I don't know, we don't really have any grand lodge, rules on this if we're allowed to. He's like, why not? It's Masonic 357.
357.
Yeah. He was adamant about that.
He was adamant about.
Yeah.
He wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
It's like,
For
but
the
it's
longest
Masonic.
time,
It's
yeah.
Masonic. It says I can. There's right in the numbers. Pretty
It's a
funny.
good argument.
I believe he even made a joke on somebody else carrying, and he was like, "But is it a 357? No, then you can't carry it a lot."
Brother Rob Baller says, I like to know who my allies are. That's great. Well, if you're all brothers, we're all
Funny, I
allies.
sit in the same room wondering the same thing. And I
It
don't know.
varies
I
from
don't
day
know
to
that I
day.
have any right
Some
now.
days I jump on you. Sometimes I leave you alone. Come on.
No, we're good.
Go on.
Good. No. I'm in my happy place.
I mean,
Go ahead. Go ahead. You know you
No,
are. Go ahead.
potentially I had something.
We always have each other's back, even if we're crapping on.
You owe me money, by the way, too,
Wow.
for the
Whoa.
for the pills that I had to get rid of his botulism.
It's on Apple Cash.
Oh, while we're on this, okay. So originally, this is actually hysterical. Originally, So what we need? We were gonna grab a 6-pack or something and bring it up here.
Yeah.
Okay. And I
Pick it up
said,
here and-
oh, Joe, grab it on the way. I'll give you some money. And I hit him with Apple Cash. Well, Joe doesn't do Apple Cash, right? So I sent him
Oh, yeah, you have
$15.
to set up an account.
He did- he's like,
before.
I'm not doing
debit
that.
card. I'm not
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
no.
yeah.
So I said,
Not doing it.
so on his way, he's like, don't worry about it. I got it. He's like, I don't do Apple Cash. I'm like, all right. So then 10 minutes later, I text him again. I'm like, dude, I forgot. I needed, what was it, cigarettes or something
Yeah.
at the time? I'm like, dude, I need cigarettes.
Sends me another 10.
I said, $10 for cigarettes.
Apple Cash again.
So then the other day,
They still don't do Apple.
And I'm like, dude, I'm not taking it. Stop.
literally. So now this was like what, 2 months ago, a month ago or something like that. It was a while
Yeah,
ago.
it was a while
Okay.
ago.
So like literally the other day, I sent him $1 Apple Cash and I said, just in for case you forgot about that I love you.
Yeah, I think I replied
sent
to
him
that.
$1. You did. We're not gonna do that live. So-
No.
But there was a response to that. So if any of you brothers at the table have or listening have Joe as a cell phone number,
Just start sending him money.
just send him $1 Apple Cash.
Send him some money. Pay for that Patreon.
I'll send you a.
Help you pay for
I'll
that
Venmo you.
Okay.
Venmo.
PayPal.
I don't do that
I'm a
either.
big Venmo. Add him
Okay.
on Venmo.
Go ahead.
Cash App.
I dare you. I dare you. I dare all of our listeners.
You know what
to
he's
send
gonna
me a
do? He's gonna
Just cell phone
activate it and then take everyone's
Take
money.
everybody's money. That's what I
No, because in order for that to happen, that means I'll have their cell phone, and you may get signed up for some calling lists.
Okay, I just want to be clear. This is for the lollipops. This is for the love yous. Yeah, Dan.
What?
Oh yeah,
Across the table.
we're sorry for making you a star.
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
sorry
yeah,
about that.
really.
We're sorry.
We're just gonna leave now. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Let's go down to Jimmy's and get a beer.
God.
Let him be
it
alone.
go
We're gonna make
back
you
to
sing.
George's show.
You're gonna have to say, like, "Wind Beneath My Wings" or something to thank all of us for
Some tattoos
propping
on
you up there.
Is anybody on Facebook asking anything? Because things are decaying.
You're my hero.
Quickly.
What do we say? What do we do next subject? Let's reel it back in.
Good question.
What are you going to do? Hey, listeners, if you're on here, what do you want to hear about?
I mean,
What do you want to do next?
I like the thought of again, if the opportunity presents itself again, grabbing something from current events and just talk about relating it to
All
our
right.
opinions.
On
within
top
a
of that,
lodge.
I also want to do this too. Right, Warsaw Mike Adams. I know you're listening.
He's
I'm
okay.
putting a challenge out to you to come up here on Thursday and record a podcast with us.
Yeah, not
So
sit in the corner this
it-
time.
Not
Like,
sit in the corner.
Be a part of it.
Be a part of it. And,
How about Hermeticism? Have we
we've covered that.
beat
Yep.
that up on Patreon pretty good?
No. We actually did a podcast,
Oh,
me and Joe. On
Yeah,
Hermeticism.
Hermes Trismegistus. That
Oh,
was
I
one
did
of the,
listen to
that
that
was a
one.
while ago.
That was a long while ago.
Let's see. Widow's Sons or Motorcycle.
I'm
Masonic
actually.
Motorcycle Club?
I
Oh,
got.
did we
I got a comment. I got a message. Carlo.
did we ever get a confirmation or dates from our brother rapper that we've been conversing with?
Yes. So in October, we're going to start plugging that. We have a brother, and he's a Masonic rapper
From Connecticut, correct?
from Connecticut, New London, and he's going on tour over the summer for January and October. For January, I even said January. What the hell's the matter with me? I have a
I was gonna
stroke.
say over the summer in January.
For
How does that
August
work?
and September and October, he's going to come here and we're going to do a podcast with him. And I thought that it would be funny to do, if he's down for it, we will do a shot collar trivia on music trivia.
Wow. Okay.
That'd be interesting.
All right.
How? What type of? I
down.
would-
Well, we're gonna have to
music
set
trivia is a
parameters on
very
years
broad.
and
Yeah.
No. And I'm hosting it
real-
because you clearly know your music.
I
So
do.
It's
That's why I
going
was
to
gonna
be
say, what are you going for music? You
Or
just-
here's
all music?
something.
everything. I'm going to start with everything.
Well, we can do.
Do some Blue Man Group.
How about somebody goes head to head with me, and it's like they got to try to stump me, and if they don't, they have to try to beat me. Remember that show, Win
It's a
Ben
big head
Stein's
to
Money?
beat. It's a big head to beat.
Oh, that was a great show.
Right? It was
Yeah,
like
I
that.
remember that one. Yeah. And it was
Are
a
you
very
just saying that
cerebral
my head is
show.
ginormous too? Is that where you're going with?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering where he was going with that.
Yes, I have a large cranium.
No, that's
I-
not what I was. I meant that you are.
we can't
very-
all be like Beetlejuice at the end.
It's a little, hey,
Thank you, brother. Thanks for getting that.
I got the joke.
I think your daughter even got that.
Yeah, she did.
She's
Instead of
gonna
big body
take
with a
that home
small
tonight.
head.
Wait till you get some Beetlejuice stuff going.
Ah,
coming out with a second one. Looks
we-
decent.
Right Marshal Mike Adams said Thursday I have something to do. He
Washing
said he
his hair.
could do next Sunday. Nah,
He's watching
got his grandson.
That's fine.
He said I can do next Sunday. All right, so we'll pencil it in.
Done.
Next Sunday.
I cannot.
Right,
be
Marshal?
there.
That's all right.
Well, I might.
Worst
If
of all,
it's
Mike can.
later, I might be able to.
All right.
This weekend begins.
We'll work
my-
out a time with Right Marshal Mike Adams and yourself, because of course we need Puppet George to interview.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there to the community because I know I'm going to catch a lot of heat for it, but it'll make this podcast even fun. The reason why I'm not around this weekend is I'm going on my weekend retreat with the monks at St. Joseph's Abbey, where I'm going to live as a monk Friday through Sunday amongst the
I
brothers
don't even know
in Spencer, Massachusetts. So
we need to get the address just so we could show up with
St.
No,
Joseph's
no.
Abbey, Spencer, Massachusetts, on Route 20. It's a spiritual retreat.
Joe.
I could see all the pictures of me in a monk
Yeah,
costume
the whole,
coming through
the whole
now.
get up. You gonna shave your head
Yeah,
and stuff?
yeah.
You're gonna shave your head.
I was
Have you seen my hair? God gave me this hair. Why would I shave it?
Why would you take it away from him?
Right.
Like that?
It's a gift. Why would you?
I'd
take
be
that
more
away
worried
from
about it
the
not
world?
growing back. I mean, at this point, he uses so much gel. It's probably
There's no product in there. I don't use product at all. This is natural, baby. Come on. Selsun Blue with caffeine, man.
Oh my God.
For thicker, fuller hair.
Such a child of God.
All right.
There's no product in this.
What do we
So
say?
yeah, set up all the monk pictures and all that. You're welcome. You're welcome, podcast community.
The monk. Yeah,
Part-time monk. I'm adding that to the resume.
I'm waiting for it.
I'm already an ordained minister
I know you're an ordained minister.
and a notary if anybody needs one. Just so
Are you really?
Important. So if
That's
anybody's
good to
getting
know,
their pistol
actually.
permit and needs a notary,
Oh,
public, we got one
there
right
you
here.
go.
Just come on up, see us.
What do you say, brothers? You want to wrap this one up?
Let's wrap it up. Good
All
discussion,
right.
though. Really
Very
good
good
discussion on this
discussion.
without getting
We didn't get
upset
too
or political, or
Yeah, we stayed away from it.
if the rest of the country could have such a conversation, we'd be in a better place.
Yeah, we
Oh,
still love
yeah.
each other after all that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh boy. Let me guess. Right, worship brother Mike Adams.
He says, "Go easy on me," and remember, I still need to do inspections.
Oh, that's true.
Hashtag not my DD.
He's mine though, and we have ours.
He's
coming up
ours
back
too.
half
I'm the
of the year.
secretary. He can beat us up pretty hard.
Hashtag not my DD.
It's a good thing I'm nice to him.
We will. All right, brothers, let's wrap it up. And we'll figure out something for Thursday. If you are on the podcast or the community, write in what you want to hear. We might even do some listeners' questions. But let us know what you want to hear. All right, let's wrap it up. For the Freemasons podcast, I am Right Worshipful Brother George Mudry signing off.
Worshipful brother Joe signing off.
Worshipful brother Ken signing off.
Brother Daniel signing off.
Have a good night, everyone. We're done.
Nice.
Shutting down the live feed.
That
Thanks
was
to
a
everyone who
good
listened.
discussion.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Peace. Love you.
Rock on.